Check out this scenery, guys. At the beach right now. The sound of this water hitting the shoreline, it just sounds amazing. But I'm gonna talk to y'all today about spiritual growth, okay? Now, I asked my spiritual teacher this question about a few days ago. I asked him, do you think I've grown spiritually? And he pretty much gave me this answer. He said, only I can know if I've truly grown. Now, what I realized was, and I'm gonna start this video by relating to myself, then I'm going to relate a message and correlate it to you guys. Now, I realized that I've been putting too much pressure on myself to maybe reach this point, to experience this. I've been putting too much pressure on myself because now that I stop and look at it, I've grown tremendously through the course of just 1 year. Around this time last year, I was still very new to spirituality. At that point, I didn't even feel like I could teach anybody anything. I didn't know how to meditate. I didn't know anything about the chakras. I didn't know anything. And I'm not bringing this up to make it seem like, oh, you should strive to be me, or you should want to raise your vibration fast, and that this whole spiritual awakening is about the speed and the rate that you proceed at, because it's not. But I bring up my experience to say this. If you want to know if you've been growing spiritually, just simply sit down, think, and reflect upon where you are now and where you used to be. So it's very simple. If you've been meditating, if you've been eating healthy, if you recognize changes in your body, if you recognize your body rejecting certain foods that you used to like, if you recognizing yourself going deeper and deeper in meditation, if you feel yourself being connected to nature and this planet, you've been raising your vibration. You've been growing spiritually, okay? So the main thing I want you guys to understand when it comes to raising your vibration and wondering if you've been growing spiritually, if you've been doing enough, have I been doing enough? Just remember this. This is not a race. I'm gonna say it again. A spiritual awakening is not a race, all right? Understand that you, on a higher level, chose this lifetime. You chose this body, you chose your primary circumstance, and you chose the lessons that you were going to learn in this lifetime. You did. So you can't, no matter how hard you try, you can't speed through this. There's no way to expedite this. You can't pay for faster shipping through life and through the spiritual awakening process. You can't. So when it comes down to wondering if you've been growing spiritually, if you've been doing enough, just simply reflect upon where you were at this point just a year ago. And if it hasn't been a year since you spiritually awakened, just do a month. You can even do last week. You should strive to always be better and to learn something different, to learn something that you didn't know the next day. For example, today I'm at the beach, I'm grounding, I'm realizing that I'm connected to the sand, I am connected to this planet, and I am connected to the earth in a different way, in a different experience, by simply just being on this beach and grounding myself. Now, yesterday, I didn't have this experience. I didn't have this knowledge. So I'm learning something today that I did not know yesterday. And what is that? That's growth. You see, growth can come in the most smallest amounts. It doesn't have to be something big. I know everybody researches spirituality. You see things, I know. And those things, past lives, I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm not gonna name too many. But past lives, people remembering past lives. Just because you may not remember a past life at this point in time does not mean you haven't been growing spiritually. It doesn't mean that. Because that's something that's very advanced. It is. You have to be at a very advanced spiritual level to experience that. But understand that you don't just wake up out of bed and just boom, you're there. You don't just learn about spirituality the first day and boom, you're there. It doesn't normally work like that. Because everything that we think we're ready to experience At a soul level, we are not. So that's why when you're growing spiritually, things are handed to you piece by piece. They're handed to you. It's like a baby. You don't see a baby and give it a steak. You don't. I hate to use that analogy, but you don't see a baby and give it a full course veggie meal. No, that baby's going to need milk. That baby's going to need formula. Why? Because that baby hasn't reached the point where it's able to handle that advanced amount of food. You get what I'm saying? So when it comes to spiritual growth, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Anyways, I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this scenery. And remember, take the pressure off yourself. You're doing just fine. If you are seeing the number 444, that means you're doing just fine. Remember, we are all spiritual beings having a human experience. Ty Spiritual signing out, bro. Simple.